It's super exciting. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. St. Louis has so many incredible destinations, whether it's food or free museums or things to do. And somebody once called it a city of islands. Like there's all these little neighborhoods, there's all these really cool things to do. They're not necessarily always knit together. Mm-hmm. And so we see the greenways, and particularly Brookline Greenway, as an opportunity to kind of re-knit the city together. And the technical term I call it is making a day of it. Yeah. So if you're at Union Station and you want to, like you said, you could wander down to Forest Park. It's not actually that far, especially if you maybe rent a bike or, find a scooter or something like that.
What's going on, Opecast? It's Braden, and we are back here with season 3. We're continuing this over the last few weeks, few months. We've been working on some good stuff. We had the Foodies Eat First Fest that took place in downtown St. Louis. And even right now, as we go into the fall, we're working on a lot of fun projects that you all will find out on Braden STL. Foodies Eat First, Instagram, TikTok. They have a very special guest. It's Emma Klues, the VP of Communication and Outreach for Great Rivers Greenway. Now, over 140 miles and 120 towns have been touched by their work. If you live here in the city, or you've been to the city, which I know most of you guys have been, whether it's a sporting event, the City Foundry, you may have seen the Brick Line Greenway, where they have reimagined the city with 10 miles of greenway paths where we can walk, run, ride a bike, push a stroller, or roll a wheelchair, connecting dozens of neighborhoods, 4 major parks, businesses and arts districts, job centers, schools, and everything in between. And that Brick Line Greenway is an addition. That's just 10 miles. We're talking 140 miles is what they have touched. And so without further ado, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
140 miles.
140 miles.
Before we get into that, because that's a lot of mileage we got to go over. Let's go into your background. You're from St. Louis, and how did you get into this role that you're in today?
Yeah, so I was born here, but then I grew up in Champaign-Urbana, and I moved here after college. So I've been here for almost 20 years. I love St. Louis. I live and work in the city, but I love that this job lets me explore all over the region. So that's super fun. My background is in communications with a minor in environmental studies. So I'm kind of living the dream now. And I worked for a couple of small nonprofits when I first moved to St. Louis, and then at a marketing agency for about 3 years, but have been with the Greenways for 11 years. So it's been really, really cool to see it grow, and it never gets old.
So you said 20 years. Did you, when you graduated college, did you know you were going to come back to St. Louis? Were you working in nonprofits?
I didn't know. I was 3 when we moved away, so I really don't have very few memories. But I was just looking to do something that had an impact, and generally in the United States, I was pretty open. My then boyfriend, now husband, was looking to go to grad school here. And so we moved for that, which was a great reason to discover and love the city.
Now, Great Rivers Greenway, how did you first hear about them 11 years ago?
So I had generally heard about it a little bit, but I wasn't super familiar. And once I figured out what they were doing, I wasn't even looking for jobs. I loved what I was doing. But once I really wrapped my head around, this is all the stuff I care about. There's an environmental impact, there's connecting communities, transportation choices for people, healthy lifestyles. It's good for the economy. I was like, I have to drop everything and apply for this.
Your major and your minor.
Yes, my major and my minor, what I personally care about, what I spend my time on the weekends doing. I was like, I'm the target audience. And so, but I also hadn't known about it. So I was like, we have some work we can do to tell the people. So kind of dropped everything and have been thrilled to serve.
Now, for those who do not know Great Rivers Greenway, what is it? How old is it? Why should people that are watching this care?
Yes. So it was created in the year 2000 by a vote of the people in November 7th, 2000. We're turning 25 this year.
And that's why y'all should care. The people voted for it.
The people voted for this. So it came from a community engagement effort called St. Louis 2004 that was in the 90s. And so they surveyed thousands of people and said, what's the legacy of our time? St. Louis was a big deal in 1904. It's about to be 2004. What's the legacy of our generation? And they heard from, again, thousands of people. And some of the things that people said were they care about parks, they care about trails, they want to be more connected together. And so eventually that got put on the ballot, and people voted to say, yes, I'd like to contribute a tiny percentage of sales tax to this mission, and that's what created our organization. So we're a public agency serving the city, the county, and St. Charles County to connect it all together with greenways. So that's 1,200 square miles, 120 towns, about 2 million people. It's the same as the state of Rhode Island or Yosemite National Park. So no big deal, just connecting that all together, and more every year.
The construction on the arch ground. Did you all have any part
Yeah,
in
we
doing
are
that?
one of 6 partners on the City Arch River Alliance that completed that project. So the voters voted again in St. Louis City and County to help invest in that project, and we are the stewards of those public dollars. So we helped to break up the contracts into smaller pieces so that local contractors could bid on that work, and that was really successful as well. And then helped to oversee the ongoing operations and maintenance of those areas too.
No, you mentioned 2000. I think that was around the time the greatest show on turf was happening in St. Louis. And so, we're here year 25. St. Louis has changed quite a bit. We've seen the ups, we've seen the downs, we've seen the impacts of, pandemics, right? Things that weren't in the initial 25-year plan. Do you all reevaluate, every few years? Like, hey, here's our long-term goal, how to switch it up?
Exactly. So everything we do is really driven by community input. We want to make sure that we're doing what the community wants and that we're stewarding those tax dollars well. So the first plan was in 2004, 2005, and it was really like, where should these all go? So the initial routes and ideas were identified. And then every 5 years, we update that plan with community input. So sometimes that is looking at the geography. Sometimes it's looking at how we operate. Like, we were originally kind of designed to build the greenways, but then turn them over to the partners to operate and maintain. So those municipalities or a campus or, wherever it goes through, that is tricky in an area with 120 towns and all different budgets and capacity and staff. And so, over time, we've developed our own department to help support those partners and make sure that everyone has an excellent experience, no matter the resources of the area that you're going through. So we might supplement and help our partners with training or our own staff or, volunteer efforts or private contractors. So some of the ways that those strategic plans have evolved are the specific routes, but some of them are also just how we operate and how the region functions to bring that network of greenways to life.
How big is your team?
There's about 42 full-time people.
That's incredible.
And it started with like 6. Like, I was probably number 15 11 years ago. So we have grown, but yeah, it's a huge area to serve with
It's huge.
It's huge.
I think about some of the projects I do and all the people I have to connect with. Like, let's say the festival I just had, yes. All the people I have to connect with to make sure it happens.
Yes, permitting, regulations.
You're a team of 40 that's doing, 120 municipalities plus everything else plus on the national level. So kudos to y'all. Like, they're not small projects. I drive through, was it Market? Because when I leave the stadium, I always avoid just trying to wait to get on 64. So I'll take that all the way down to like Compton, Jefferson, or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go back 11 years. At that time, you're planning to plant trees, and you've seen those trees happen.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel to see like, hey, we were in a meeting. I still remember that meeting, and we talked about that curb or that tree, and it's happened. Like, how does that make you feel? And then how many trees have been planted since you started?
So the tree, we actually just did the math the other day. The trees are 11,700 is our best estimate of the trees planted, which is more than one a day for 25 years. So we're cranking on getting some more trees out there. It's incredibly rewarding. I mean, to be able to see these renderings and drawings come to life. And also, I think one of the even more rewarding than just for my own, meaningful work, to have community members say, that thing is there because I said that thing in that meeting, or that, I can see my work in the designs that you've presented. I know that because we had those conversations, on my front porch, then that, that input went into it. And so those are really, really meaningful comments because we're able to deliver on what people wanted, but we're also doing it in a way that is transparent and accountable and building or rebuilding civic trust. To me, that's actually the most rewarding thing. It's amazing to see the greenways, but I kind of knew that would happen. I think what was delightfully surprising was to see how the communities change because of the process and the project.
And that's the Show Me State.
Yeah. We got to do it.
Like, people, when you have that first meeting, hey, this is what's coming and this and that, and people are like, is it really? And then they start seeing some construction. I don't know. We'll see. The trees go in. Okay, is this for real? Mm-hmm. And then they enjoy it. right?
Yes.
It's like those are like the phases, and then they're over here like, hey, let's go for a walk, and you see them changing their way of life, which is the goal. St. Louis is we're a foodie city. We have a lot of great food, and we'll definitely pick your brain on some of your favorites. But one of the things about eating all the good food, you got to get some exercise in.
For sure.
And what you all are creating, it's great for the environment. It's great for, you think about equity, you think about the economic impact, but also just that overall quality of life.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
It's huge. It's how people choose where they want to live, right? We're hopeful that, and we're seeing it. What we're doing with the community is creating reasons for people to stay here, to move here. It's one of many factors of why you might want to live somewhere, but having choices for how you get around and get exercise and move your body and make memories with your friends and family is part of what people are looking for when they're shopping for cities. You
know what we got to do? So I'm big in marketing myself. We got to push walking meetings. Yes. More, like especially when this is getting done, and yes. Like that's I think I was doing a lot of that in like 2021 or 2022. I think like back when we were starting to see people again face to face. Crazy to like think about, but it's like, hey, let's walk and talk, because then especially with what you all are building, you're seeing as you're planning the next phase, the North Grand, the fairground, the Tower Grove, all that, like you all are walking and I guess making the blueprint, the plans, things like that. So yeah, we're gonna push walking meetings.
Let's go. You all plan the walking meetings wherever you work, and then we'll show up with like goodies or a snack or we'll support that.
We'll
put it out there.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the economy because 120 different municipalities. You're connecting all these different pockets of St. Louis, which makes it easier because when people are in, other cities, let's just say like New York, the High Line or whatever, they're on the bike paths and they're taking that to their office. When it comes to the economy, you all were involved in a key strategy for the STL 2030 job plan. How does it feel having a seat at that table? And then what are you all contributing to that plan?
Yeah. So Brookline Greenway is listed in that plan as one of the things that can contribute to the economy in St. Louis in general. And it's fantastic to have that be recognized as, one of the many things that we can do to strengthen our region. So some of that comes from, we did a economic impact study with Ernst & Young in partnership with Greater St. Louis Inc. And they projected a 2-to-1 return on investment for Brookline Greenway. And they looked at things, some of it is the things you might expect, jobs, temporary jobs, construction, but also permanent jobs on the development that might happen along a greenway. What kind of things might come in and want to be near a development like that. But as well as there's an economic impact to reduced number of crashes and injuries, like the healthcare costs, giving people the healthy options, reducing carbon emissions from the cars. There's lots of different ways to calculate that. And so it's great to have that kind of infrastructure and investment be recognized as a key part of a thriving economy. So we're doing our part to deliver on that. As you talked about, there's construction on the way. And we also have hired Chris Peoples as our Director of Equity and Economic Impact. So he's thinking about what happens adjacent to the Greenway and how can he work with those neighborhoods and communities to make sure that that is done in a way that is with and in alignment with what the communities need and want. We know that some of these big projects around the country can be agents of displacement unintentionally. We want to make sure that's not happening with the Brookline Greenway. So he's working on, strengthening with those neighborhoods. What's your neighborhood plan? What kinds of things do you see that you need in your neighborhood? 3 of them have come together to form a community development corporation, for example. So now they can go after different grants and see what kind of influence they can have on, developing something in a vacant lot that the Greenway might go through or right past.
That's interesting.
It is, yeah.
And, you think about tourism as well. Like when I go to different cities, I like to explore like the downtown and, if there are easier ways than having to get an Uber, Lyft, taking a subway, taking a train, like if I can take a trail, like I'll just walk and go get lost and find something to eat. Yeah. And maybe I'll take, the Lyft or rideshare or whatever back to the hotel. And we were talking off camera a little bit about like, Union Station, you have the soccer stadium. Cause I felt like for me, it was like, that was one of the first times, at least since, 2020 that I heard about you all. And that allows people that come into St. Louis, they can do, the family activities at Union Station, but continue those family activities along the trail. And so like, how does that make you feel about that?
It's super exciting. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. St. Louis has so many incredible destinations, whether it's food or free museums or things to do. And somebody once called it a city of islands. Like there's all these little neighborhoods, there's all these really cool things to do. They're not necessarily always knit together. And so we see the Greenways, and particularly Brookline Greenway, as an opportunity to kind of re-knit the city together. And the technical term I call it is making a day of it. So if you're at Union Station and you want to, like you said, like you could wander down to Forest Park. It's not actually that far, especially if you maybe rent a bike or, find a scooter or something like that. It's not necessarily that it's super far away, but if you are exploring, you're going to find a little local restaurant or a shop or something you might want to stop in, and you're going to interact with the city differently because you are exploring rather than just using a car to get to the next destination and coming back. So you might hop on the train to get back or part of the way. You might, go find a new business and explore a new neighborhood and fall in love and move.
No, seriously. I agree with that. And I think it was like 2020, 2021, I would do a lot more walking. I'm walking around, I'm discovering things. Because then when you're back in your car, you have the stop sign, you have the stoplight, you have the car in front of you. You look to your left, okay, there's a spot. But then you're so focused on driving.
As you should be.
As you should be, yes, yes. Be safe, especially for bikers and runners and everyone else out there.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that impact, and especially seeing it coming together. And just to like clarify with what's going on, like let's say Kings Highway, I take that road every single day. It just got paved. There's bike lanes there. We've never had that. Those are separate entities, but they're contributing to the bigger picture because soon I'll be able to take, Kings Highway, get on a bike, go up Kings Highway. I'll get to Tower Grove Park, go straight to the brick line. Is that correct? Like there's other entities buying into what you all are doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Kings Highway is the City of St. Louis project, but we always say we're thrilled when we're not the only game in town. We want everybody to be working on whether it's a greenway trail or better sidewalks or bike lanes or what have you, giving people more options is fantastic. And those options help fit into our plans and give people more ways to get there because we're building greenways as fast as we can, but they're not everywhere yet, right? 140 miles is awesome. And also it's 1,200 square miles of land we're trying to connect together. It's going to be a while before everybody has a greenway. So all of those other projects are fantastic to help, support all of the same goals, which is just giving people those options that they want.
And the climate, like hot summers, cold, icy winter. So you probably have 7-8 months maybe that you guys can actually have construction. So like with all these different paths that we're seeing, North Grand, you all are working on that. You have there's the Kings Highway, and then you have your guys' project right there, kind of like in the middle. Do you see there being more bike shops or maybe places that like people can rent bikes, scooters along the way?
I think it would be great. We always tell like local businesses that, if you want to partner with us or collaborate, like obviously we're not in that retail space, but would be thrilled to go promote other options that people have. Those types of opportunities are great to give people choices, not only maybe that they're out of town, but also just maybe they're not sure if they want to do that yet. And, most people walk, most people don't ride a bike, but renting one is a great way to try it out and see how you feel and, figure out if that's something that's a viable option for you. So a great way to kind of get into a new way of using them.
Now, one of the things about being in a show me state, sometimes you have to show people, you almost got to like hold their hand, give them the first ride, like, hey, come, ride a bike, go for a walk. You're like that personal invitation, right? How are you all getting that person that may be the toughest one to buy in? Because, we in our line of work, we see it often. Once they experience it, they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. I don't have to go on vacation to do that. How are you getting that person or, maybe what's a strategy of getting them to buy into it?
Yeah, two things come to mind. One is from just getting people out on the greenways that are already built, programs and events. Everything we do is free. Our calendar is jam-packed. If you want to go beginner bird watching with Audubon, we've got that. Do you want to go for a greenway walking tour and learn about the history of the area? Do you want to, do yoga with Yoga Buzz? There's all kinds of those types of programs and events that are free of charge because we hear from people that they're like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to check this out, But just having like, we'll just go on Saturday at 10 and there will be people doing a thing is enough of a reason. And then they know how to get there. They can go back on their own. So having free programs and events, many in partnership, is a great way to let people try it and just know exactly, okay, that's where you get on, or this is where I park, or how I, start. And then on the flip side, before they are built, community engagement drives everything that we do. And so getting that input and building that trust and working through any questions or concerns that people have is how we get the buy-in from the very beginning, right? So when a greenway is built and that ribbon is cut, hopefully we've got hundreds, thousands of people already excited because they've been working on and contributing to that for a couple of years before, even it's open. So early and often and throughout, talking to people and listening.
Past, present, into the future.
Yeah, exactly.
And that helps too, especially when people are connected in their own community. You would hope that they're talking to at least some of their neighbors, because then if that one person that's the block captain or whoever that knows everyone, says hello, tells you, hey, you need to move your car across the street because it's street cleaning day. If that person is also, they're coming to your meetings, they're talking to their neighbors.
In. Yeah, maybe they're leading the walking meeting on the greenway,
exactly.
The neighborhood stuff. Yeah,
it's a trickle down effect, know. And it's just something that works here in St. Louis. It's tough, but like once you get that show me state, like once people buy into it, they're into it.
They are. People are super. I mean, again, they want them faster than we can build them. It's a great problem to have. And I do have to thank the Katy Trail, which is a state park that goes across all of Missouri, for kind of laying the groundwork for proving this concept of this can be a great thing for daily use, but also for economic opportunity. And I think that was a helpful part of the Show Me story to get the greenways going. And again, it came from what the community wanted.
Who are some of the key partners that have helped you guys along the way? Because it's not just you have other people that are helping.
It's so many partners. I would take up the rest of the podcast if I just started listing partners, but I will give you categories. So all of the municipalities, right? All of the state agencies, Missouri Department of Transportation, Conservation, local entities, regional like us, like Metropolitan Sewer District, thinking about stormwater runoff and rain gardens. We've got all the local businesses along the way. We've got neighborhood associations. You've got churches and schools and just destinations. I've been here 11 years and I haven't come up with anyone that we wouldn't partner with. That is a challenge. Please try to come up with someone. I've not yet done it, but it's just everybody, because we're working in people's backyards or in their business districts, or, so it might be Forest Park Forever. It might be Bi-State and Metro. It might be the highways. It might, it's all over the board.
And it's like, hey, here's our vision. And I'm sure most of them are like, oh yeah, I see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're like, hey, I'm going to build a 40-story high rise right here. This is how it's going to help. No, you're like, hey, this is how we're here to just make things better.
Yeah. And now that they're on the ground, most people are like, oh, is this like that one that's over here? And so again, a little bit of a show me, but there's a reference there too, so people can wrap their heads around it.
Now, 10 years from now, how do you hope people will describe?
Honestly, transformative. I think it is happening, but I think the more and more that is built and the more that is connected, people can really see that and feel that. Mm-hmm. And I think that we want to give, I said it before, like, hopefully it's something that people feel is a huge civic asset. It's a point of pride. It's something that gives them freedom and choices. It's something that makes them feel great about where they live, and that it has improved their quality of life. Big deal, just that.
Yeah.
Just all that stuff.
No, just that. And then, if someone hasn't attended an event in the past, you all have one coming up here called the Great Gather Round that's taking place on September 15th. So what is that event for those who, because this is the 25th year of the organization. So this is kind of like that party.
It's the anniversary party. Yep, exactly right. Yeah, so it'll be Monday, September 15th, and it'll be 4:30 to 7. It's a giant community dinner. And when I say giant, I mean 1,500 feet of tables in a giant circle around the History Museum. So we're shutting down the entire street around the Missouri History Museum. Thank you, partners. And like rerouting a bus. Thank you, Bi-State and Metro. And you can bring your own dinner. You can buy from food trucks. We'll have free mini cupcakes from Sweet Art for everyone. DJ Jillian will be spinning some tunes. We have free activities for kids, fun stuff to do. But we really wanted this to just be a community celebration. This is not just our accomplishment. This is the region. We just talked about hundreds of partners, thousands of millions of community members. So this is not a formal program. There's not official remarks. It's literally just come have dinner together. Yeah. Celebrate what's going on. We're going to have these huge tablecloths where you can like color in the greenways or word search and, all the fun stuff on the tables. But just listen to music, have fun, enjoy being outside. And it's right on the St. Vincent Greenway that goes north from there along to Bolivar. So you can either take the Greenway to get there or take the Metro to the Forest Park to Bolivar station. But, fingers crossed for the weather. It's going to be so fun. And we just really hope everyone comes out and celebrates and really is able to enjoy this collective impact that we have made together through partnership and collaboration and input.
The thing I love about that is like you're celebrating the last 25 years and people have seen, but now it's like, I think you're basically like, you're putting that stamp on like, hey, don't forget, like this is what we have done, because sometimes, life happens, we see developments, you just get used to it.
Sure.
But I think this is great that you're showcasing like, hey, this is what, in 2000, this is what happened. And this is how we got here.
And it's happening. Yeah.
We're at number 25. Here's what we hope for the next 25 years.
Yes. Much more to come.
Do you all have like a museum? Because I feel like, or somewhere that like people can see this on a, at least like a plaque or something, because that's just very fascinating.
It is fascinating. So we have a couple different things that we're doing. One is we are setting up some exhibits around town, like partners are hosting, like in their lobby or different places to help people learn about that history. And then at the Great Gather Round, we'll have kind of a storybook walk of like yard signs with 25 milestones looking back and 25 things to look forward to. So there's plenty more to come and we're excited about that. And then folks can always obviously like go online and, check out our website and check out all of our social media. We have a million, videos on YouTube and things if people want to sort of dive into where we've been. But really, we're just excited to celebrate with the community and move forward together. Going online is a great place to start, greatriversgreenway.org. We're on social media channels as well. Feel free to find us there. We have email newsletters as well. At the bottom of every page, there's a subscribe button. But you can subscribe for updates that we just send out a general monthly e-newsletter or volunteering and getting involved in that way. We have lots of needs for volunteers. It's a good way to get exercise and get some fresh air.
Especially this time.
I know we're heading into gorgeous time here, but we also have newsletters for every single Greenway. So if you're just wanting to know what's happening in Maplewood near you or in Olivet or wherever you are, then you can subscribe to that newsletter to get those specific updates of what construction is upcoming or this open house we want you to come give your input about. So digitally plug in, but also there's all of those calendar of events. So ideally get out and see a Greenway.
Especially this time of year. Seriously. It's so beautiful out. Foodie Friday. I'm going to kind of throw some, specific requirements for this one. Let's say I'm along the Greenway. Mm-hmm. What are 3 to 5 of your favorite spots? Okay.
If I'm in St. Charles County, I'm going to say Bike Stop Cafe. It's in downtown St. Charles, so it's close to the Katy Trail and the Boschert Greenway. It's great. I mean, it's like great sandwiches. They have little, my favorite is the little peanut butter ball oat bites. Like if you just need a little, pick me up if you've been outside. So I love that place. And then if I'm on Gravois Greenway, also known as Grant's Trail, Yolklore is a great breakfast spot. So sometimes that one's pretty close and I'll check that one out. And then I would say in the city, this is future Brickline Greenway will be close, but it's also just close to our office. Yeah. Saucy Porca. I feel like people are sleeping on it. It's so good. The Funky Monkey Fries are great. The banh mi is great. There's a million options. I do have a whole Google map of places that I've been and places that I want to try, and they're like all color coded. And again, this job has been such a good excuse to go, explore different places. And so now I know okay, Thai food in Florissant. I'm near the Sunset Greenway. I have to go put out signs or do something. Pearl Cafe. Okay. But otherwise I might not have gone, far away from my house to get Thai food because I do live in the city. There's lots of great options, but I love this job for making me go to new communities and figure it out and put them on my map.
Love that. Now let's say we usually do dinner guests, right? We do 3 people. It could be, someone that dead, alive. It could be a family member, a friend, a mentor. But for you all, let's do walking partner. So someone you can walk and talk with and still eat. Yeah, that's my life. I'm burning calories as I'm taking in calories. Who would they be and why?
How many do I get? Okay. I think probably one would be Peter Sortino, is one of our founders. And he's no longer with us, but I would love to be able to pick his brain about that early engagement and that effort, that civic effort to how this got going. What what did he see as the sort of legacy of the organization? What did he hear from community members? We obviously have all the info. And Shaughnessy Daniels on our team was also a staff member there. That was so she was part of that team too. But I think really just hearing from someone that was around in the very early days would be really satisfying, and also to thank him for everything that he did to help get us going. It would be awesome. So Peter would be one of them. And then I think, this is going to sound goofy, but someone from a totally different country, just to talk about infrastructure and how they do things in other places. We're really big on learning from, peer cities across the country, across the world. I'm particularly fascinated by Singapore because of the amount of trees and forests. Like, they build a high rise and every floor has a forest. I mean, it's wild. So I think getting some really outside perspective would be really cool to share what we've done, but also hear from them about what they're doing. And then, I would say, just on a totally personal level, Mike Schur, the creator of some of my favorite shows, Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and The Good Place. So that would just be fun for me, but also from a Parks and Rec perspective, I'm curious about what he wanted to accomplish with civic engagement and kind of some of that work. So that would just be fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are all over the board. We'll see if they like each other. Yeah.
Yeah. You do have to have that person that's going to make some jokes.
Yeah. But is also very thoughtful. I feel like he's a smart guy. Yeah.
He's going to be, he's a smart guy. He may be quiet. He'll hit you with that one-liner. Totally. Or he'll write a new show.
There you
go. Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Greenways. Yeah. Something.
Now, last question would be words of wisdom, whether it's someone that aspires to what you've done in your career, or maybe we could tie in, the trail. Maybe we want to get someone to buy into it. If there's anything you would like to leave guests with, what would it be and why?
Honestly, I think the most important thing for us is that we try really hard to meet people where they are and listen. When people are asking me oh, where will you be in 20 years? What's the exact projection? I don't know, but the community will tell us. Yeah. And that's kind of our whole thing, right? We've been doing this for 25 years, and I think we're successful because we continue to be in relationship with community members. And for instance, St. Charles County looks very different than it did in 2004. It's a totally different place. Yeah. But we've adapted and updated our map and drawn new lines that go to places like Wentzville that didn't, exist nearly the same way. And so I think listening is a huge piece of what we do. And whether that's personal or professional, it goes a long way.
Now, you've already mentioned it, but can you mention it one more time? How can people learn more about you?
Website is greatriversgreenway.org. Call us anytime, 314-436-7009, or you can email us or find us on social media, but Great Rivers Greenway would be thrilled to hear from you.
Awesome. And make sure to check out their event on September 15th, the Great Gather Round. I really appreciate your time, Emma. I've learned a lot. And even off camera, I had a lot of questions and she answered them all. And so it was really cool to meet with you, speak with you, but also learn more about everything I've seen around town, basically putting all the pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah, right on.
So
we'll see you on the Greenways.